Hi BookTube, it's Missy and this is take 2 of my 2015 end of the year survey. I originally saw this video on Trina's channel, which is Between Chapters, and it's actually from Jamie's book blog, which is Perpetual Page Turner. I will leave both Trina and Jamie's links down below. This survey is really long, so let's get started. The first section of the survey is called Reading Stats of 2015, and there are 3 questions. The first question is the number of books you've read or so far. I think it says read so far. I'm just going to go with it. I've read 133 books so far. Hopefully it'll be 140 by the end of tomorrow, which is actually today, since it's 1 in the morning on New Year's Eve. Okay, number 2, the number of rereads you did in 2015. I'm not a big rereader, although I do keep all of my 4 or 5 star books on my shelves. I did reread a little bit of The Martian by Andy Weir on the way home from Vegas. My husband put it on in the car and I listened to, I don't know how many chapters, but I did reread a little bit of it. And I'm also rereading the Harry Potter books to my children. I believe I read at the beginning of the year the Goblet of Fire, and we are currently on the Order of the Phoenix, but not very far in. And then I did start the Sorcerer's Stone in the the illustrated edition. So I have a lot of different like Harry Potters going on, and my kids don't mind. They just want me to read to them, so it doesn't matter. But I have a little bit, but I haven't. And I did reread a novella, a whole novella, which is The Moth and the Mirror by A.G. Howard, 1.5 of the Splintered trilogy. Okay, and the third question of this section is the genre you read the most from in 2015, and that is technically fantasy, but a mixture of fantasy / paranormal, because a lot of the books had a paranormal aspect to it. So yeah, and the fantasies weren't like the high or epic fantasies. This is just the normal everyday fantasy fiction. So that's what I read most of this year. Okay, I also did a little bit of stat building here on my notes. If you've seen Lala? If you've seen Lala's channel where she did the 2015 like book wrap up, where she has all of the books that she's read this year and then she stacks them all up at the end of the video. I will leave that video down below as well, but it was amazing and I wanted to do that, but there was no way I was going to be able to get 50 books from the library that I read this year. So I decided to just write it all down and tally it up and let you guys know what the results were. All right, so for library books, I read 49 physical library books and I read 3 audiobooks from the library. And then for physical books from my shelf, I read about 56. Hopefully it'll be more by the end of the day. But I thought that was pretty good. That was almost an equal amount of library to books from my shelves. And then I did read 6 audible books and 16 ebooks, either from books that I borrowed from NetGalley or books that I actually purchased for myself. So yeah, I did a pretty good job with the whole ebook and the physical books. So if you added those physical books and ebooks together, I read a ton. From my personal books. I thought it was more library. I think that was a really good thing to do so I could like kind of compare how many library books I actually read. Yeah, so that was good. All right, getting on to the second part of the survey, which is the longest, and I think it has like 30 questions, so bear with me. I hope this video isn't extremely long. The first question is, best book read in 2015. You guys already know what my answer is, and that's upside down. The Martian by Andy Weir. This is my favorite book of 2015. It is an adult sci-fi. Everybody should read it. It's a little bit technical, but the humor makes up for it. And if you like science documentaries, this is so good. I love science documentaries. This was amazing. All right, number 2. The book you were most excited about and thought you were going to love, but you didn't. And that one was, I'll show you the picture here, The Retribution of Mara Dyer. I really enjoyed the first one, and I really enjoyed the relationship between the main character and Noah Shaw. And then in the second book, it was flimsy. I didn't understand what was going on. And then in the third book, you lost me. I really didn't like the book. It was very bizarre and unrealistic, and I know it's a fantasy, but it was even unrealistic for a fantasy. And the ending, it didn't feel good to me. Like, I just didn't like the ending, and so I was very disappointed in the ending of the trilogy. Number 3, the most surprising, in a good or bad way, book you read in 2015. And for that, I chose One Flew Over Cuckoo's Nest by Ken Kesey. This is a modern classic. I didn't think I would like it, but I was trying it out because I was reading a lot of mental illness books at the time, and I really, really enjoyed this book. It took me a month to read, but I absolutely enjoyed it. Number 4, what book did you push on everyone to read in 2015 and they actually did? And again, for that book, it was The Martian by Andy Weir. I got my husband to read this book, and he never reads books, so that was fantastic. And then I also pushed the Splintered trilogy on people. I got a coworker to read it. She read the first one. Right now she's reading the second one. I even got Penelope to read it. She's reading, well, I think she finished the first one, and I purchased the second one for her. She needs to finish it because she loves Alice in Wonderland. And for all of you watching, if you have not picked up the Splintered trilogy, what are you waiting for? I swear to God, it is absolutely fantastic. It's so fantastic. I just love it. All right, number 5. What series did you start in 2015? No, that's not the answer. What is the best series you started in 2015? And that is Jacoby by William Ritter. This is a YA paranormal mystery, and I loved it so, so much. If you like eccentric characters, Jacoby is right up your alley. The next question in that same number is, what's the best sequel of 2015? And that, my friends, is Beastly Bones, the sequel to Jacoby by William Ritter. Again, if you haven't picked up this series, pick it up. It's amazing. I absolutely loved it. And the third part of that same question is best series ender. And that's Ensnared by A.G. Howard. It's got all the feels. It's got the best ending imaginable. It's got the best fight scene. It's got the best everything. Magic, magic. Love, love, love. Morpheus and Jeb. Love, love. Alyssa, love. And the rabid. Rabid? It's rabid. Rabbit. White rabbit. The White Rabbit. I don't know. I loved it. All right. Number 6. The your new favorite author. My new favorite author is William Ritter. I really like him. He writes amazing, and it's like a historical fiction. So it's got kind of like that reminiscent historical fiction kind of jargon, but it's quirky, and the dialogue is super funny, and I love everything about it. I also put, where is it? I have all my books thrown on the ground here. I also really liked Bethany Griffin. If you haven't read The Fall, you must do so. I also have the other duology that she's written, which is Mask of the Red Death and Dance of the Red Death, which is the retelling of Mask of the Red Death by Edgar Allan Poe. I haven't read them yet, but I really, really want to in 2016 because I loved this book so much. And so if you like Edgar Allan Poe or his retellings, definitely pick up Bethany Griffin's books. All right, number 7. Best book from a genre you don't typically read or is out of your comfort zone. Now, I don't typically read classics, and I absolutely loved, again, One Flew Over Cuckoo's Nest. I have a full review plus a versus movie review down below. I will leave the link. I don't know what about this book that I loved so much. It was so amazing, and I absolutely loved it. All right. Number 8 is the most action-packed, thrilling, can't-put-down book of the year. And it's a tie, because most of these questions are a tie. The tie is Made for You by Melissa Marr, which is a YA psychological thriller that would be equivalent to the YA version of You. If you liked Caroline Kepnes, the book, you will like Made for You. It's the YA version about a guy stalker. It was brilliantly written. I was scared for all of the victims. It was absolutely amazing. And the second one is Armada, because it definitely was action-packed, and as soon as the aliens come to invade Earth, non-stop action after that. So if you like Ernest Cline's writing, you might like Armada. All right, number 9 is the book you read in 2015 that you most likely will reread in 2016. And for that one, I have The Martian, again by Andy Weir, because I listened to this on audio and I didn't read it in its physical form, so I want to read it in its physical form. And also Stardust by Neil Gaiman, again because I listened to it on audio and I want to read it in its physical form. Number 10 is favorite cover of a book you read in 2015. I have 2, like always, and that is Flights, Chimes, and Mysterious Times by Emma Trevane. Ooh. And this is a middle grade alternate London sci-fi steampunk fantasy book. I really, really enjoyed it. And the other one is the Splinter Trilogy. All 3 books have beautiful covers. Well, all 4 books. All 4 books have beautiful covers, but if I had to choose my favorite out of the whole series, it would be Unhinged, which I don't have here because my friend is borrowing it at the moment, and that has Morpheus on it, and Morpheus is my favorite, and it's purple. I love that cover. All right. Number 11, most memorable character of 2015. And that, my friends, is Joe from You by Caroline Kepnes. He's a douchebag. He's absolutely horrid, but fascinating. I don't understand his logic. He's completely full of himself and has like this confidence that everybody is going to love him. I wish they would talk about what he actually looks like, because I'm thinking that he is just an average Joe. Get it? He's an average guy, and he thinks he's just going to pick up all these chicks. And so, yeah, I cannot wait for Hidden Bodies. Joe is insane. All right. Number 12, most beautifully written book read in 2015. And that is Stardust by Neil Gaiman. Now, again, I didn't read the physical copy. I listened to it on audio, and Neil Gaiman narrates his own book, and it's so beautiful, and his voice is so enchanting. If you haven't read a Neil Gaiman book, I would pick it up on audio first, just because his voice will make you want to read all of his books. He's so talented. All right, number 13, most thought-provoking, life-changing book of 2015, and that is going to be The Cure of the Dreaming. Is that how you say it? No. The Cure for the Dreaming by Kat Winters. This is her second book that she's written, and it is a paranormal women's suffrage book, and it really got to me because I know that women suffered in the past, with equality, and having a man dictate exactly what I can and cannot do, if I can leave the house, what I wear, who I vote for. And of course, women couldn't vote back then, but they couldn't wear pants. And this book just kept getting on my nerves. And I'm so happy that we've overcome a lot of the obstacles as being women. But God, the father in this book, and what he does to his daughter, and what he allows her to do, and it's so dominating, and I absolutely hate that. I got so angry reading this book, but it was so, so good. If you haven't picked that up, definitely pick up any book by Kat Winters. She's such a great writer. I loved it. All right, number 14 is book you can't believe you waited until 2015 to finally read. Everybody should know this answer, and that is The Shining by Stephen King. I've been a huge fan of Stephen King since I was in high school, and I've never read The Shining. I don't know why I never picked it up, but it's so scary. It's so scary, and I loved it. I'm so happy I read it this year. I absolutely loved it. Number 15, favorite passage, quote, from a book you read in 2015. Now, I have a couple because I can't just pick one. The first one is from Jacoby, and I saved it with, a tabby. And it says that the battles are usually in her head, does not lessen the bravery of it. The hardest battles always are. So, the struggles that you deal emotionally and your inner struggles are the most hard battles to overcome, and the most brave if you can overcome them. And the other ones I actually printed because this is from Gumption by, what's his first name? So Gumption. There's a bunch of quotes that I put in my update status on Goodreads, and so I wanted to read a couple of them. The first one is from Benjamin Franklin, and it says, 3 may keep a secret if 2 of them are dead. I think that is absolutely hilarious. And let's see, another one. This is by Frederick Douglass, and it says, if there is no struggle, there is no progress. This struggle may be a moral one, or it may be a physical one. It may be both moral and physical, but it must be a struggle. Power concedes nothing without demand. It never did and never will. So again, there's like a tie-in between Nick, that's his name, Nick Offerman's Gumption book and Jacoby, where struggle is a main factor if you don't struggle, you don't learn, and that's very important. Without the struggle, you don't progress in life. And so I enjoyed those quotes. Okay, number 16, the shortest book you read in 2015, and there was like a tie between The Fall of the House of Usher, which I believe is like 32 or 36 pages, and then there was The Red-Headed League by Sherlock Holmes, which is just a short story that he wrote, and that was again like 32 to 36 pages. Those were the two shortest short stories I read in 2015, and the longest book I read was, where is it? And the last one is Beautiful Creatures. I just ran to my room and I couldn't find it. I don't know where I put it, but that was the longest at 563 pages. Number 17 is the book that shocked you the most, and I have 3 for this question. The first one is The Retribution of Mara Dyer, because I was shocked at how she ended the trilogy. Like, I could not believe Michelle Hodkin ended it that way. I was dumbfounded. Like, how dare you, right? And then I was shocked at The Sham by Ellen Allen for the beginning, because that was appalling. And like, how can you expect people to want to read your books and enjoy your words when you have torturing kids in your YA novel? Like, that doesn't make any sense. No teenager's gonna want to read about torturing children unless he's a psychopath. And so I was shocked about that. And then, I guess I have 4. And then I was shocked at The Shining because how much it scared me. I didn't expect it, because I've read, like I said, a lot of Stephen King books, and they've been creepy, but they haven't terrified me. And The Shining terrified me. And then the last one I have is Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl, because I bought this forever ago, and I knew it was a contemporary, and I thought I wouldn't like it, and I absolutely loved this book. It is super hilarious. Just hilarious. I loved it. All right. Number 18. OTP of the year. Remember, I'm old, so OTP is one true pairing. I think that means that they're not actually together, right? This is like a relationship that you wish would happen. Am I correct? Sorry if I'm wrong. If the case is what I think, I would really like Abigail Rook and maybe Jacoby to get together, just because I really like them. I know that they're really good as friends, but it would be cute if they got together as well. But then it would ruin the other relationship that she might get into in the future. And also, the Grace and Thorn Hollow from Madness So Discreet. Again, it's the girl and the eccentric doctor. That one is more doable. They're not in a relationship in the first book. I don't even know if this is going to be a series, but they weren't in a relationship. They were just, business partners. But I can see it happening, and I would really like them to get together. All right. Number 19 is favorite non-romantic relationship of the year. And again, that's Jacoby and Abigail from Jacoby. Because they just have a really good work relationship and friend relationship, and I could see it melding into something else, but for the time being, I really enjoy them together as friends. And then I also have Leila, I think it's Leela and Raphael, but from the from the Guardians of the Shadowlands trilogy by Sarah Fine. I read the entire trilogy this year, and Layla is the protagonist and Raphael is the angel. And he's very cryptic, and he only tells her what she wants to hear, but he's always there for her when she needs it. And I really enjoyed that. And she infuriates him and really annoys him, but at the same time they have that good relationship where he's always there when she needs him. So I enjoyed that aspect. And the other one would be McMurphy and the Chief from One Flew Over Cuckoo's Nest, because McMurphy is like not a god to the Chief, but definitely someone he looks up to for confidence and encouragement and everything that you want to be as a strong male figure. The Chief looks up to him as that, and he wants to be just like him because his whole life he's been quiet and I don't know, he's just been like so, like, he didn't believe he could do anything, and McMurphy comes into his life and he feels like he can accomplish anything. And I enjoyed that kind of mentorship that they had, and also they're friends, so that's great. All right, the next question is favorite book you read in 2015 from an author you've read previously. And again, that's A.G. Howard with Ensnared, or the entire, I read Unhinged and Ensnared this year, and hopefully I can finish Untamed, and that will be the rest of the trilogy all this year. I really, really like A.G. Howard. Can you tell? All right, 21. Best book you read in 2015 that you read based solely on the recommendation of somebody else. And that is You by Caroline Kepnes. I don't remember who I saw this first. I think it was Lainey from Ginger Reads Lainey, where she was gushing about this book in 2014, and that's when I purchased it for like Christmas. And then a whole bunch of other people started reading. I know Katie from Chapter Stacks read it, and then Lindsay from Lindsay Ray read it, and I mean everybody started reading this book and loving it, and so I had to pick it up. And when I did, I was absolutely blown away. It's so weird and twisted, and if you like psychological thrillers, I don't even know if it's psychological. It is a thriller, and it's creepy, and I liked it. All right. Number 22, newest fictional crush from a book you read in 2015. This is hard because I didn't read a lot of books that had really good male figures in it. So I'm going to go with Elias from Hotel Ruby by Suzanne Young. He's just a dreamboat from the 1920s, and I really like him because he's loyal and loving and vulnerable. I really liked him, and he seemed like he was really cute, and so there's that. And then I also put in here Thorn Hollow from A Madness So Discreet. I don't remember if they say like his age, but he's eccentric, and he is, again, very thoughtful, and he wants to help humanity, and so you can feel that empathy through him. And even though he doesn't know Grace, he goes and helps her, and then he helps other people, and he's really smart. And even though he hates visiting his family, he's really loving with his sister, even though they have like a dysfunctional relationship. It's really funny to watch, and so he would be a crush. And then my last one would be, what did I write? Oh, Malachi from the Guardians of the Shadowland, which is that trilogy that I talked about from Sarah Fine. He is a guard of the Dark City, so he's powerful and strong, and all he wants to do is save people, but he has a soft heart, and he's trying really hard to be a better person so he can get into heaven. And he like throws himself in front of anybody. Like, he's just putting his life on the line all the time. And so he's selfless, and I love that about him. Number 23, best 2015 debut you read. And that would be Mosquitoland by David Arnold. This was his first book he's ever written. It was absolutely fantastic. It's a contemporary, coming-of-age, road trip book. I cried in it. It was so, so good. And then the other one would be The Creeping by Alexandra Syrowi. I don't know how to say her last name. By the way, both authors have books coming out in 2016. I thought they were fabulous. The Creeping was super scary, and it's a thriller mystery, and I really, really enjoyed it. I think I gave it 4 stars. Definitely check those books out. Number 24 is Best World Building, Most Vivid Selling World You Read this year. And again, that would be Guardians of the Shadowland by Sarah Fine, because she has hell all, you know, laid out for you. The Dark City is for people who have committed suicide, and then there's the Wastelands that are for people who murder, and then there's another like domed area for creatures that God made before humans. And everything was just super well written and very creepy, and I loved that entire like paranormal aspect of the story. And then I also put Splintered. I mean, even though everyone knows about Alice in Wonderland, A.G. Howard did a brilliant job of just really defining everything and making it vibrant and alive and creepy and just gruesome, and just, I loved everything about the book, just everything about the entire series. All right, number 25 is Book That Put a Smile on Your Face, the most fun read, and that would be Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones. I absolutely loved this book, and I think I did not stop smiling the entire time. I just loved this entire experience. All right. Number 26 is The Book That Made You Cry or Nearly Cry in 2015. And I have a few. Ensnared made me cry. The ending was adorable. The Martian made me cry. The ending was tragically fantastic. What else? What did I write? Oh, Challenger Deep made me cry because the parents were just so loving, and it was so heartbreaking for Caden to go through his entire journey of like figuring out how to deal and cope with his illness. I just thought that was just, it touched my heart. And then there was Armada. Where's Armada? You guys already saw the book. But he talks about his dad a lot in this book, and I miss my dad because he lives 1,200 miles away, and I never ever see him. And so every time he mentioned his father in this book, I thought of my dad, and it makes me sad that I don't get to see him enough. And the last book on the list is The Swallow, a ghost story by Charisse Cotter, which I read this month in ebook form, and I just enjoyed the friendship. It was so wonderful, and at the ending made me cry. So all of those books were beautiful. Number 27, the hidden gem of the year, again, is The Swallow by Charisse Cotter. This book came out in 2014. I just loved it. There's a lot of people who say that it was just an okay meh book, and it's just a middle grade. It's about 2 girls who meet each other and become best friends very, very quickly, and then the friendship, you know, is ripped apart, and there is sorrow in between that friendship. And I don't want to say why the friendship got ripped apart, but if you've never had a best friend and you moved 1,000,000 miles away, or, you know, whatever happened, she moved schools or whatnot, if you know that, you will understand the pain that Rose goes through when she doesn't have Polly anymore. And it just really hurt me. I felt so bad for her. And so, yeah, I really, really loved that book. Number 28 is The Book That Crushed Your Soul. Ugh. Shadow Kiss by Rochelle Mead. This is the 3rd book in the Vampire Academy, and you'll know exactly why it crushed my soul. I won't go any more than that. 29 is the most unique book you read in 2015, and that would be You by Caroline Kepnes, because it was written in 2nd person, and it was really creepy because it felt like Joe is talking to me, and I don't want him talking to me. And then there was The Dead House, because it had a lot of different formats that it was written in. There were pictures and Post-it notes and emails, and it was just, I loved everything, like the whole format about this book. And then the last one, oh, I have two more. I have Coma. Where is it? This book right here, and I don't have the graphic novel that I read, but it's called The Mind Gap. I'll show a picture here. But both of these books dealt with coma patients and them trying to figure out how to wake up because they are aware. And that's a scary thing, to be aware while you're in a coma and nobody knows that you're aware. Super freaky. I loved both of those books. All right. And let's see. I got 6 minutes left. Number 30. Number 30 is the book that made you the most mad, but that doesn't mean that you didn't like it. The first book, obviously, is The Sham, because there was kid torture in it. The second book is We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson, because when the people do the bad thing in the middle of the book, I'm thinking, what is wrong with you? It's like mob mentality. Like, one person starts throwing rocks and then everybody starts throwing rocks just because people are doing it. It's like monkey see, monkey do. And I hate when people don't have their own opinions. You know what I mean? Like, if you think that's wrong, don't do it just because everybody else is doing it. It drove me crazy. And then I have Blood Promise. Blood Promise is on this list because, you know, Rose goes out and tries to like do things on her own when she should be asking for help, and I absolutely hate, there it is, it's Blood Promise. I hate that YA trope where the, you know, the girl character goes off and tries to be badass by herself. And then the last one is Inherit Midnight, because the family are just atrocious. Like, seriously, families should be loving and caring, and that's not what happened in this book. They are ruthless and power hungry and, you know, money grubbers, and I just hated that. I hated it. Be loving and kind to your family members. That's all you have is your family. And my battery's going to die, so I will finish this up in a little bit. Goodbye.